Welcome to Spotlight on Connected to India. We are at Objective, Center of Photography and Film, one of the many places in Singapore from where action around the Singapore International Film Festival is taking place. 27th SGIFF is showcasing 162 films from 52 countries. One of the films is a Hindi movie called Psycho Raman or Raman Raghav 2.0. We have with us the director of the film, Anurag Kashyap. Anurag, thank you for speaking to Connected to India. I have some questions with regards to the Singapore Film Festival first. How did you think of taking part in the Singapore International Film Festival?
I was invited. I've been actually collaborated with them when they came to India as well to showcase their movies. When they showed Sandcastle. And I also, my films have screened here before, but I never could come here. This is the first time I've come to the Singapore Film Festival, and I was invited also to be a mentor and do a masterclass.
How did filmmaking happen in your life?
Filmmaking happened actually very late in my life. In the sense, people know very early on they want to join movies. I didn't. I saw the film festival in 1993. I went and saw the film festival, and for the first time I felt like, okay, this is what I want to do. So this 1993, I decided to get into movies, and in 5 months I was in Bombay trying to get in there.
So 1993 and Panch came out in 2005.
2000. Panch was made in 2000.
Yes, made in 2000.
Yeah.
And then, and as a young filmmaker, you know, when Panch was not allowed to screen, how did that impact you? Does it take you away from the conviction of being a filmmaker?
No, it didn't. In the sense, actually, while Panch was struggling with the census, I started making Black Friday. And the impact of Black Friday and collectively after Panch, it kind of had an impact where it changed me forever. I knew that kind of cinema I wanted to make. So that didn't change me. Yes, I had to put up a big fight. I understood that a lot of things that I do actually people don't want me to do. And I realized that this is not how they look at cinema. It's going to take a long time for people to change the way they look at cinema.
So do you think the change of regime, does the thought of trying to relaunch Panch come to your mind?
Yeah, but you know, it's like Panch is not really owned by me, so it depends entirely on the producer. Today, all my films, I have a say in it. But Panch was one of my first movies. The producer is a different person.
Okay.
And we still are trying to put out Panch. Somehow or the other, it's been 16 years.
From your films, almost everything you do, and I was at masterclass yesterday and you were doing a comparison with your brother. You're an absolutely, fearless guy. You don't worry about how you want to express yourself or whether your film will make money or not, profitability, etc. How did you develop this fearlessness?
It's not that. It's not really fearlessness. It's also a very calculated way of making movies. In the sense, I know I want to make a certain kind of movie that won't make a lot of money. So I don't spend a lot of money making movies. So I've developed over a period of time a style or a technique or methods through which we make movies that look bigger and a lot less money. And then it's not harder to recover. Even when in a case of movie losing money, they don't lose so much. So that way it's been pretty safe.
Can you explain with an example? Like, does Gangs come under this category?
Yeah, Gangs, absolutely. Gangs is a film that really cost nothing. It's 16.5 crores the cost of the film. And it made a box office of 52 crores, which is actually good.
Talking of Gangs, when you say you try to make it in a very cost-effective manner, can you expand a bit more? Like, how was Gangs?
No, in the sense, you spend time. In the sense, we cannot create the 70s and 60s. So we went and we found a ghost town where I grew up in, which has remained the same since 70s. So we go and we shoot there. So we don't need to create the 70s. We just fill it with people dressed like they're in 70s. I shot in the house that I grew up in. My brother was born in.
Interesting.
We need to shoot the mines and mountains blowing up. We go there and we wait there and we wait for the shot. And, it's like, so we did not really create an individual shot. We found them and we put them together. So it takes a lot of patience, a lot of research and traveling, and it saves us money.
So, but the first shot where there's a full mountain blows up, that sounds like a very expensive shot.
It was like, obviously we needed a shot of the whole mountain kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
And we found out where the mountain is going to blow up. And we traveled 10 hours and we sat there and we waited for it to for them to blow it up, and we shot it and put it in the movie.
Oh, very interesting. Great. What about casting? How do you do your casting?
I spend a lot of time casting because for me, casting is one of the key things. If film is well cast, film is 50% made right there. So we spend a lot of time casting, and I also cast based on who those actors are and where they come from and the background, and I use all that to enhance the film, and they bring a part of the background with them in the movie, and that changes the characters, that brings the diversity in the film. So I spend a lot of time casting. Every film takes 6 to 8 months casting.
But Nawazuddin Siddiqui is of course a regular in your film, and yesterday you were talking about how you try and look for people who have a lot of time on their hands. Does he still have time?
Now he doesn't have much time, but the thing is, I shoot on the streets. I shoot on places where I don't have much money to begin with. When I shoot on the streets, I need people who are not recognized, one, and second, they have a lot of time and patience. Because then I need all my actors there. We don't know which shot we're going to take or which scene we are going to shoot next. The availability is of prime importance, and the togetherness is very important. So I always cast people based on how much time they have, and that's how we go from there always.
When you said togetherness is very important, what do you mean, and how do you bring about that togetherness?
No, I mean we all sit down together and we talk about ourselves, and we start opening up. It's very important for the actors to know themselves and to know each other. And this exercise we do, where in the beginning they're kind of very resistant. They only talk good things about themselves, and slowly they open up, and by the end of it, they're all emotionally naked and vulnerable, and I get to know a lot about them, and I know them exactly, their strengths, weaknesses. We do a lot of those exercises.
So did you think of these exercises on your own? You've studied that these exercises work?
No, I've been from theatre. It's not like that. It's just that I know, in the sense, see, the most important thing in making a film is trust. And people need to trust each other to give it all, to risk things. And to have that trust, you need to trust the other with information about yourself, where you can be vulnerable and you know the person is not going to take advantage of my vulnerability. So that's how I push them, and that's how I make them do that.
Coming to your choice of film to be screened here, you know, Singapore is a relatively crime-free society. How do you think people are going to react?
I have no idea. I'll see that tonight.
You know, I've had these arguments. One of my team members, she's covers Hindi cinema, so to speak. And she and I had an argument whether it is Raman Raghav 2.0 or is it Psycho Raman. What's the name of the movie?
Both are them. They're two different versions of the same movie.
Okay.
Raman Raghav 2.0 is the India release version, which was distributed in India, which is a more linear version.
Okay.
Where Psycho Raman is not a linear film.
Okay.
It has less information. It's just the international version that's been to festivals. That's the version I prefer, but in India, you sometimes need to spoon feed the audience.
So I have seen the on Netflix the Raman Raghav. Yes. So that's the international version.
No, that's
Indian
the India
version.
version.
Okay. Great movie, by the way.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I loved it. Not my wife, but I definitely loved it. And how much attention do you pay, or do you pay any attention to the feedback or research?
I do. I will always pay attention to feedback. But in the sense, it's up to you. You something that makes sense stays with you. Something that doesn't make sense, you throw it out. But we always do that, and we always have this method of doing this one-way feedback. When we get feedback, we always get it on mail. So it's not. I don't sit there to defend myself. So I let people be free and tell everything and say everything.
Post-movie feedback as well? I mean to say...
No, post-release feedback I don't take. When it's done, because then you can do nothing about it. So I move on to my next by the time the film releases.
How did the name Phantom come about? Is it you're a fan of
It's not, no, it's Vikas Pahel who came up with Phantom. We're a fan of Phantom cigarettes, those candies.
You were saying yesterday in Masterclass, you love it when people come out of the cinema hall and they're completely silent.
Yeah, because sometimes you want to disturb people, you want to provoke something in them. And that's the purpose with some of the movies which I would like to do. Because we've been making movies which treats us like children, and we stay children. We don't think for ourselves. And sometimes there's a need to shake them out of their laziness and their taking for granted everything. So I like to do that. So when people come out very disturbed and they look at me as what kind of a man is this, who's made this, I feel good about it.
Great, great. And which movies have had the same effect on you, which you've not made? International films, any language?
Lots of them. There's so many movies that impact me. Every year there's so many movies.
Do you watch all the big releases which happen in India? Do you watch?
I go and watch films by directors. So I have my list of directors whose films I'll watch. I don't really see a lot of them. I see them eventually when I'm on a flight or just playing somewhere.
But the super big releases which get promoted as releasing on Diwali usually don't go. And I've got one last question. This question has come from one of our readers. Her name is Roy Soma from Bukit Panjang in Singapore. She asks, what is the greatest challenge you faced while making the movie Gangs of Wasipur? Have you been to Wasipur before starting the movie?
I've been to Wasipur, but the thing is, the greatest challenge I faced was, one is like to pull off the movie, the whole story I want you to tell, and to get the money to make it. We found the money one day before the shoot. So that was one of the big challenges. And then to put it out there. I think the film going to Cannes solved half of that problem. But just to put it out there was a tough one. How do we put out a movie that's so long and all newcomers?
Thank you for talking to us, Anurag. All the best for Psycho Raman.